What's up, everyone? And welcome to another special edition of Epic Nerd Time. We have a lesser known comics illustrator and author and illustrator of the newly funded comic, Goodnight, hailing all the way from Mendoza, Argentina, Mr. Franco Luna. My brother, how are you?
I'm doing all right, Josh. Thank you for asking. How about you?
I'm doing good. It's a day off here in the States, a nationally observed holiday, so it's nice to be able to put your feet up. I'm a commercial
Well,
cleaner for a living, so it's definitely nice. But you said you were exhausted from your trip, so you're probably barely hanging on by a thread.
yeah, I am a little bit exhausted, but actually, I've been here for like 3 days already, so I'm getting adjusted by now. But yeah, I've had some jet lag.
Man, first of all, I want to say congrats. Congrats on the funding. That's got to be a pretty sweet feeling.
Yeah, I was excited when I saw, and there's still some days left in the campaign, so uh, I was excited to see how quickly it went and got funded. So, but I do hope that we keep raising some more,
Yes.
so we reach more people out there.
Don't stop there, that's for sure. Um but before we get into a little bit of Goodnight, take us back a little bit about early Franco. What are some of your early comic influences?
Well, I first got into comics, like re-entered comic books with Spawn, but I started reading it when I was in my 15th or so, because before that I was just reading Batman, Spider-Man, but just I live in Argentina. It's a third world country, so we don't get, well, at least in that time we didn't get a lot of comic books on a regular basis. So I just put my hands on whatever uh, I could at that time, and I couldn't see anything, you know. Two issues back to back, so I didn't understand shit pretty much. Uh, but when I was in my 15th and so, I started reading Spawn. I fell in love with it once I saw the art. So I started looking at it, checking it out online. So naturally, one of my first influences would be Greg Capullo. I fell in love with that guy
Yes.
immediately. So I would say him for sure, and that's what got me into as a kid. And I didn't start uh, following other artists until I was like much older, like in my 20s, 22, 3, when I decided I wanted to give the comic books stuff a go.
So at 22, 23, were you just kind of at a where were you at in your life as far as knowing that that was the moment you were going to go after the comic dream?
Well, I was finishing university. I was studying graphic design, and I was close to finishing when I said, "Yeah, I don't want to do this for a living." Uh, it was a bummer, but on the other hand, I was leaning more on my drawing skills, and there were a couple of events here in my hometown in which I showed stuff that I did to people, and there were a lot of people interested in buying. And they did like this whole illustrators gathering in which I could bring my art and there and sell it. It was like I don't know how you call it in English. I don't have the word for it, but you pretty much have stands back to back, like an artist alley, and put whatever you have on a table, and people check it out, and if they like it, they basically buy it. And I was surprised it was my first time doing something like that. I was surprised to see that a lot of people was into it. I sold a lot of stuff, and I said, hey, maybe I can do this for a living. People like what I draw, and that was the boost that I needed to say, yeah, fuck graphic design, I'm going to give this a go.
Uh,
Basically, yeah.
no, that's awesome. I had seen a little bit on your Instagram, you do possibly doing some for some like wine or alcohol companies. Is
Oh
that
yeah,
something that is that something you still do now?
yeah. I still do it because I love it, and that's a big thing in my city because it's right there on the slogan of the city. It's Mendoza, city of wine. So as you can see, there are a lot of wineries, cellars, and the wine industry is pretty huge here. So a lot of people looking for graphic designers and stuff to do the labels. And I started with a company first. They signed me for one label. I did the illustration. I loved it. I was walking down a supermarket one day and I saw my illustration right there on the bottle, and I said, "Yeah, I love that. I need to keep doing it."
Yes.
So I started doing that uh, too, and it's pretty amazing. I think it's a more of an ego thing, you know. You see your
Yeah.
stuff on
No,
the yeah.
man, I'm a firm believer if you don't toot your own horn, nobody's gonna.
Yeah, pretty much.
You know, so I mean, who cares, man? That's awesome. It's awesome to be proud of your stuff.
Yeah, you know, I have that thing in which when you see um, your art from 1 year ago, you don't like it no more. I always have that thing, but I think a lot of artists have that. But anyway, it's pretty amazing once you see it, you know, sitting on the shelf.
Now, you said you had attended school. Was there any other self teachings before that to kind of get you there as you were younger?
Well, I never studied illustration. That's not a thing, or wasn't a thing in Argentina while I was growing up. So I just went to. I kind of drew myself whatever I liked. I tried not to copy because I never liked doing that, and that in itself, you know, the amount of hours I put in that made me grow. You know, but I kept making a lot of mistakes, of course, but I had no one to tell me which mistakes I was doing.
Yes.
That's what you have when you have a teacher. You know, you shorten that trip. And then I started when I started graphic design, which was the closest thing I had to my passion, which was drawing. I was pretty bummed down to find out that there were no teachers there for illustration or drawing in any sort, you know. And so I decided to study myself. And once I made that decision, you know, to on that artist alley, you know, I'm going to do this for a living. I started to take it in more seriously, and I started downloading a lot of books, buying books, or whatever I could put my hands on and study myself. Then I had an amazing teacher one time in which I had this trip to Buenos Aires, and I stayed there for like 3 months. I studied with this amazing artist. Her name is Abril Barrado, and she's a teacher of human anatomy and pretty good at it. So that I would say shortened a lot. That trip helped, uh, you know, avoiding some anatomic mistakes I was doing.
Gotcha.
Uh,
So
so yeah,
you had someone kind of special kind of come and put you under their wing.
no, it wasn't like that. It was like she gives these courses, you know, like
Oh,
for
okay. Okay.
yeah. So it was a 3 months course. So I saved some money and I said, okay, I'm going to live those 3 months in Buenos Aires. I took that stuff. We became friends in the process, but I was her student. But that was my first teacher in. Well, I was 25 by then. You know, the first time I studied with a teacher, and while I was doing it, I said how shorter, you know, this learning process would have been if I had teachers since the beginning. You know, I would be a pro like at 21 probably, or 20, I don't know. Yeah, with
I did,
the enthusiasm I was putting in, you know.
of course. No, I think we're all kind of doing it right when we need to be doing it.
Yeah, I mean, I'm pretty happy with the results, but every once in a while, you see these kids, on Instagram or wherever, and you see amazing art, and then you go to the profile, and oh, by the way, I'm 16, and you're like, fuck,
I'm a guitar player, man, and you see that with like the 5-year-olds who can play, and you're just like, I'm in my mid-30s, and this kid is amazing. Yeah,
And
man.
that's when you feel like trash. No, but jokes aside, I'm pretty happy with the results. It could have been faster, but we're always improving, and I'm going to keep searching for teachers. There's a lot of people that know a whole lot better than me, and they can teach me their knowledge. And I think that's amazing, because how boring would it be, if we knew everything?
Exactly. I think that you hit the nail on the head. Just keep improving.
Yeah,
I mean that.
definitely.
So let's get into the meat and potatoes of this one here. Without
Let's go.
spoiling anything, talk to me a little bit about Goodnight.
Well, how could well, it came to me one night, as I was having trouble sleeping. In my bedroom. It was a pretty short. Uh, how to say that the origins of that story is pretty short. It was like that. I had this recurrent image in my head that was frightening me, and at the same time, I couldn't stop uh, thinking of the story for it, and that kept on frightening me. And I think, well, maybe it works. I don't know. Let's try it. So got up, wrote it down, and said, I'm going to pitch this idea to Mark. Maybe he goes for it. I don't know. And he did. So and in the process, while I was putting together the script, at some point I decided that I wanted to make it silent, because I was reading this comic book. I don't know if you know this guy, Sean Tan.
No, I do
There's
not.
there's this book called The Arrival. It's pretty amazing. It's all watercolor, and this guy does a full uh, a full book without showing one dialogue, and it's
Wow.
amazing because you can understand everything from beginning to end, and it keeps you. It's dynamic. It sets up the atmosphere just right, and it's a work of art. You have to check it out. So
I will. I
anyway,
just wrote the title down. I will after we get off of here.
I said uh, I would like to try something like this, way less ambitious than that. But in 10, 12 pages, I can see if I can. I want to see if I can pull something like that off. And challenge myself to do something different. So I gave that a go, and while I was at it, I decided, well, maybe since I'm trying something different, I can also try different illustration style, something that's out of my comfort zone. I did everything different with that book, so I'm pretty proud of it. But at the same time, I'm worried, people might not like it, because I have no idea what I was doing at the time, basically. Yeah.
So it is a silent comic.
Yeah, and it's
I love the
we
concept.
could say it's like psychological or thriller. I don't know if it's horror. I wouldn't know how to categorize it. But a silent comic is black and white. It's different style of what I'm used to doing, not so traditional. So it's just something different. I would put it like that.
Now, you said the art style is black and white. Was that still inspired by the silent comic from that you
No,
were
no, no,
talking
no.
about, or where was the art style inspired from?
Well, while I was doing it, I inspired myself pretty much on Japanese artists,
Okay.
how they manage horror, all those textures, all those thin lines, and it's pretty. how to say, it was very appealing for me. I thought it worked beautifully with the horror comic book, and I decided to give it a go. I wouldn't say it went. I don't want to say it went well enough. It went well enough for me. I'm pretty satisfied with the results, given I was experimented. But I would like to hear from people, what do they think? What do you think? You know?
Yeah, I'm excited. I'm excited to get my hands on it for sure.
Yeah.
Now, I think I heard you say it was 10 to 12 pages.
Around that, yes.
Okay.
I don't remember the exact number, but I think it's 12.
Okay. Yeah. No, that's awesome. Kind of gauging the scope of the book.
It's
Is
just
this
a short story, you know. I wanted to convey, wrap it up. It's like the equivalent of when you have a short in the
Gotcha.
YouTube.
That was my next question. Is there going to be a second one? Or will this just be left alone?
No, it's just a standalone story.
Awesome.
If there's a second one, would be like same style, maybe same. How to say it? It wouldn't be a follow up to that story, just something that occurs, in the same universe. But I don't know if I would do that. I didn't think it like that.
Gotcha.
Originally.
Okay. No, that's awesome. Now, under the lesser known banner, are there any other titles you're working on?
Well, yes. I'm currently working on a title named Kaijo City. It's one that Mark Bernal wrote, and it's pretty exciting. I had a blast doing it. Right now, it's in the coloring phase. So Nico Turis is taking care of the colors, and he's pretty amazing at it. So you should stay tuned in for that one. Has lots of actions, lots of excitement, new characters. So yeah, I wouldn't know what else to say without spoiling.
No, that's fine. Does the Kaijo City artwork differ from Goodnight?
Yeah, that's more traditional American,
Okay.
like more
Okay.
in the action comic book, superhero comic book style, that sort of thing.
Besides Kaijo City, is there anything else maybe or maybe
On the works?
Yes.
Yeah, nothing in the works particularly.
Gotcha.
But you can check previous books right there on the Lesser Known Comics
of course
website.
But yes,
and those are for free, by the way.
Yeah, speaking of lesser known comics and those being for free, Epic Nerd Time is brought to you by Lesser Known Comics. Use code EpicNerd15 at checkout and save yourself some dollars, and heck, even get some free Franco Luna comics while you're at it. Franco, I noticed online you do a lot of some digital stuff. Are you mainly a digital artist, or is there some traditional pen and ink paper style there still?
I'm coming back to pen and ink right now because I've missed it for so long. But that's mostly stuff that I do for myself. When I'm working, when I doing a comic book or something for commercial purposes, that's it makes more sense to me to do it digitally. It's it speeds up the process. I can make edits. I can send stuff for revision right away. So it just makes more sense for me. But when I'm drawing for myself just for fun, yeah, I usually go back to pen and paper. That's where I enjoy the most. Yeah,
definitely a blend of the two, it seems.
In the style, you mean?
No, I mean just like you do some pen and paper, and then you do some digital as well.
Yeah, But if you catch something from Lesser Known Comics, you see the wine labels or gin, whatever alcoholic beverages, that was probably made digitally.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
Now, Do from kind of jumping on the other side with the wine and other stuff, was there a favorite project that you might have done with those companies?
Well, jumping back to the alcoholic
Yes.
stuff, well, there was one in particular which I pretty much enjoy, which is called Entre Perro y Lobo. It's in Spanish, means like between the wolf and the dog, something like that. That's the translation. And it's a gym, and I enjoyed it precisely because it was something like different from what I'm used to doing. I got a lot of creative liberty and tried different styles. Yeah, I pretty much did my thing with it. So I enjoyed it a lot. That's kind of my baby. So if you go to my Instagram page, you can check it out. I think it's there.
Now, when you do a label like this, how long time-wise does it take you?
Well, it depends whether I'm doing something I really enjoy or something I'm just doing for the payday. In, if it's something I enjoy, unfortunately, it takes me ages because I keep making corrections. I keep doing. If they give me liberty to do what I want, I just let it sit, go back to it, and say, "Oh, I can tweak this or that." I want it to be perfect as much as I can. When I'm doing something just to receive the payment and you know uh, and go to other stuff, I just do it like in a day, 2 days, I don't know, max. Since
Wow.
I received the request. Uh, but yeah, I mean, I enjoy pretty much every job that I do, but there are some of them that get me involved uh, much more.
Okay, so I wanted to use that to set up to transition this to this question. How long did it take you to get through Goodnight? How long of a process was that?
Well, that one was actually not that long because I was enjoying it a lot, but I was also very inspired. So I would say, uh, I don't remember exactly. I want to say 1 month and a half, maybe 2 months.
Wow.
I did it. I think I did 2 months. One for the pencils. I let it sit. I consulted with other people. I made some edits, and 1 more month just to ink it and check it out, revise it, see if it needed some edited, uh, which it did. Uh, I think 2 months. And you can double check with Mark, I think.
That's crazy. Like I'm learning here, so I'm learning how long some of these processes might take, and it blows my mind a little bit because it's like it seems like it would take a lot longer than that. But I
Well,
guess when you're skilled at something, it's a little easier.
yeah, I mean, I think actually it would take way less. It just took a long time for me.
Yes.
You have a lot of artists delivering 22 pages books in 1 month, and that's just crazy. But well, to each their own rhythm, and I'm quite slow, I would say.
I think there's
To you it might seem like a lot of time, but I perceive it to be like I took forever. Again,
no.
check it out with Mark. Maybe he tells you, yeah, he took forever to deliver that book.
Hey, I come from kind of a my perception isn't very learned, if you know what I mean. I'm coming from a musician's perspective.
Yeah, those are different backgrounds.
Yeah, different things for sure. You said
If
one.
I ask you about music, we would probably have a different perception too about what's a long time, in delivering an album or whatever.
Of course. You said one word in the last answer, inspiration. What's inspiring you these days?
Well, I had this trip, as you might have heard, to Russia, yeah, of all destinations. And to be abroad is quite inspiring. You know, I came back, while I was there, I came back to drawing on pen and paper. As I told you, you know, like I felt like I needed to do more with my hands, feel the paper, feel the ink. And I hadn't done that for a long time. I wonder if I had to go to the other part of the world just to be able to do that again. I hope that sticks with me and I can keep on doing it because I love it. I forgot how much I love it.
So, what was your trip to Russia more a journey about just getting it together, so to speak,
Not
kind of
really.
getting
I wouldn't say that. I just wanted to be like a tourist and enjoy. I was working. I took my iPad with me and I just wanted to know the city. But while I was there, you know, it's a very rich Moscow, St. Petersburg. Those are really rich cultures when it comes to art. You know, every inch of the city is beautiful. It's the architecture is beautiful. You have lots of museums, lots of arts, lots of artists, even in the streets, and you know, to see people doing um, what they do best and seeing their art, it inspires anybody, I would say. You know, any artist that visits a museum that they quite enjoy, they come while they are looking at the, you know, paintings or whatever, they would say something like, probably, yeah, I need to do something like this. I need to do more. And at the same time, yeah, what I do is shit, you know?
Oh my gosh. Man, that is not the case, seriously. Um, so that's awesome. Was there a certain place in Russia that you were going for like a certain reason, or was it just I'm just going here to be a tourist?
I just want to I just want to know a different city. You know, the obvious destinations are always, you know, for someone maybe in Argentina, I would say like they're always America, they're always Spain because, oh, of course, you're going to speak Spanish in Spain, and they're always it's always Italy because we have a lot of uh, Italian ascendants, lots of us. You know, so those are quite the obvious destinations. I just say like, I want to do something different, you know, and I don't know how it came to be, how it came to my mind, but I knew there's a lot of cultural background there, and there's a lot of art, and I certainly wanted to check it out. Um, also, I must admit, my first destination was America, but I didn't have my visa yet, and I didn't need no visa to go to Russia.
Hey,
So I said, yeah,
yeah.
let's go there. I have my
Is
visa now, so we we know my next destination.
is there a certain place in America you want to come see, or does it matter?
Well, I have some acquaintances. Well, not acquaintances. I would say they're friends. They're pretty much family. They lived right next to my family's house when I was growing up, and they had to move there looking for opportunities. You know, when I was a kid, and once a year we see each other when they travel um, to Argentina and to visit their relatives here, and we always have a great time. I would love to, for once, being the one that comes visiting them, you know, and they live in
Yes.
California. So that would be the first stop. And a lot of the crew from Lesson Rome is there too. And I want to check out, of course, I've never met Mark in person. So uh, that's one thing, you know, we owe each other a proper meeting.
Oh, for sure. I have not met him in person myself either. Um, Definitely a lot of, uh, like Zoom calls and whatnot. Um, a couple
Yeah,
more
he's an
questions.
awesome dude. We always have like 2 hours, 3 hour conversation of what it was supposed to be, like 30 minutes. So uh, imagine that with beers in the middle.
Yeah, yeah. It's an all nighter.
Yeah.
Um, are you reading any comics at the moment?
Right now, I'm reading books, actually, not
Okay, no, that's
comic
awesome.
books. Yeah. Uh, and but comic books, which was the last one I read? I have this big ass collection of DC comics, which I bought on how to forget the name, like hardcover. Yeah, on hardcover. So I have like 60 books of them, and I'm right on the half of those. I've read pretty much 30, I would say almost 40. Those are like um, hardcover compilations of 6, 7 issues, like the whole arc of a story.
Yeah.
And I was reading uh, pretty much lots of Batman, lots of Flash, lots of all of the characters, because it's pretty much distributed. Um, but I wouldn't know which was the last one I read.
Well, let's talk about the books that you were reading. What's the book that you're currently into right now?
Right now, not any particular book. I just finished The Great Gatsby, like
Okay.
the previous week during the flight. Um, right before that one, I read Schindler's List. Before that one, I read 1984. So I'm going through the classics.
Yes.
I would say, yeah.
Awesome. Well, obviously, Goodnight. I would think you would consider it a success at this
I
point.
wouldn't. I wouldn't say that. I would. I
Well,
would say
okay.
the.
At least it's checked off a goal.
Okay, yeah, we can say that.
I would, and that is a success unto itself.
Yeah, yeah.
So,
Okay, I'll take that.
okay. So my point is, what's next after Goodnight?
What's next? Well, I have this. Well, Kaiju City still needs to be colored and finished, but my part is pretty much done. And I'm working on a new project with Mark. Besides Kaiju City 2, of course, but I have a personal one, which I'm doing with a writer from right here from Argentina. He lives in Buenos Aires. Blas Bigatti is his name. And this is my own personal idea, actually. So I'm putting a lot of effort into it. And so, yeah, it's going to come out through Western Comics, of course. Where else? So,
Whereas,
I can't tell much about the story because it hasn't even started yet. And it's still kind of a secret. So,
no, I totally
yeah, no
understand.
spoilers on this one. But it's pretty much pretty close to heart. No, pretty
Gotcha.
special project for me.
Let me ask you this: will this
Okay,
new project have a different art style to challenge you?
no idea on that one. I want to do something different. Definitely, I want to do something different.
Awesome.
Like every story asks for something. When I'm facing it, I said, yeah, I think this style would suit the story better. And if I can nail it, at least for my standards, I say, yeah, I'll do it. I go with this style. So it will probably be something different from Goodnight and something different from Kaiju City, but much closer to the latter.
Awesome. 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 Okay. One last question. and I'll let you have your afternoon back or early evening, excuse me.
Yeah, shoot. Let's
Are
go.
you into any films right now?
Films.
Is that something
No.
that ticks your radar at all, being an illustrator, or does that not
Yeah,
cross your
yeah.
paths?
I love films. Since I was in Russia, there I didn't have access to the latest Batman movie, which
Okay.
pretty much killed me, because I was dodging spoilers like a champion on Instagram or wherever. So, first thing I did once I set foot in Argentina, I watched that freaking film, and in 4 days, 3 days. Uh, well, since I traveled, like let's say a week, I've already seen it twice. So ask me if I liked it, and
Yes, that's what I want to know. What did you think of it?
yeah, I freaking loved it. You know the It's a comic book style. It's a comic book movie. It follows. It's very artistic. I loved how they portrayed the character. Maybe the story, we could chat about the story, whether it was good, it wasn't good. But I was looking at it from the illustrator point of view, and I loved how they treated the character. I love the darkness. I love the colors, the color palette, and these scenes in which pretty much they were amazing portraits. So, if you freeze the image and you say, yeah, that's straight up from a comic book. That's what I loved. Those how they treated the
They not
image,
they
the photography.
they nailed the cinematics in that movie.
Yeah.
Oh my
Uh,
gosh, I've not seen that emotional style Batman movie in a while.
yeah. Yeah. Well, I'm glad to see that we agree on that one.
No, I loved the aspect of the world's greatest detective and bringing
Yeah.
that back instead
Yeah.
of
Well,
just like he's a superhero who's going to punch out the moon or whatever.
yeah, and he does receive a lot of punches.
He
So I really like
yes,
to see that too, even with the magic armor, which
which he took a full
I
shotgun
think,
blast to the face
yeah,
with.
yeah, it's pretty amazing. I will love that technology if I ever get robbed. But it's a superhero story. You can't really uh, say that was unrealistic. Like, come on, it's a dude dressed as a bat fighting a crime. Let's not ask for. But yeah, I freaking loved it, and I love that he received some punches. I love that they went back to the detective, and I really love that character. And if you ask me, I think they did it justice.
Yes, and I will gladly say I put my foot in my mouth about Robert Pattinson being Batman.
Yeah, me too.
I mean, I will admit that 7 days a week because wow, that was
Yeah,
impressive.
it
Uh,
was. Yeah.
and another thing, the vehicles,
Oh, how
the
freaking awesome that Batmobile is.
then the bikes. Oh my gosh.
Yeah, yeah. And it's like more. It's not that fancy. It's just it works. I would
Yes.
say it works. Yeah.
I I
Uh,
I do love the and I know it's probably seen in movies, but the contact camera that he used that
oh yeah,
I thought that
yeah,
was
yeah.
really cool.
That like that sort of retro technology. It was amazing. Yeah. The whole. I think they nailed the feeling. Of Gotham City. I don't know if everyone so. I met people that didn't love the movie. Uh, Everyone has their own opinions, but if you ask me, they did it right.
Yes, two thumbs up over here for sure. Now, besides Batman and DC, do you like any of the Marvel stuff or Star Wars?
Yeah, yeah, I love everything comic book. A lot of people complain about the fact that new people that never read the comic book is now watching the movies and claiming to know everything about the characters and whatnot. And I say, fuck that, thanks to that people, we get to see all these movies. If only 3 people were in the theater, we wouldn't be seeing our favorite characters in the big screen. So props to that people. I'm glad that they're coming, to see more of this culture, which is amazing. And we get to see more cool characters in the meantime. And of course, I see everything that goes through the big screen, everything superhero, even if it's shit, I have to go watch it. Even if a lot of people told me, don't waste your time, don't waste your money, I'm going to go watch it because I'm a kid inside. So I have to.
Yes. So that leads, I guess I got to ask now, what did you think about the new Doctor Strange?
Well, I loved it visually, but I cannot. I can't make any comments without commenting about the ending. So I don't think it's fair.
Okay.
But I would say, I don't want to make spoilers because I hate when people do spoilers. But I have my reservations, I would say. I don't know what you thought about
send me your reservations later in a text or something.
Yeah, we're going to have a conversation about it for sure.
Do you, and this is, excuse my ignorance here, are you
Okay.
able to see any of the Disney Plus stuff?
Yeah. We're not. It's only Russia where they have all these issues,
Okay.
and they are blocked from the rest of the world.
Please excuse my ignorance.
Don't worry about it.
Did you watch any of the Kenobi stuff?
Haven't yet.
Are you going to?
Yeah, I'm going to. Last stuff I saw everything from The Mandalorian, and I loved it. So I'm going to give this chance as well.
It's very good.
So I'm not going to ask you if you liked it.
Okay, last question, man, and I'll let you have your day.
Yeah, we're gonna have. Don't worry.
What were your thoughts on the Boba Fett show? A lot of people were poo-pooing on it because of the influx of Mandalorian and things like that, but I think people forget that Mandalorian had Boba Fett in the show as well. So the stories are kind of linked in a sense. What were your thoughts?
Sorry about that, but I haven't watched that either. The last one I saw was The Mandalorian, so I haven't checked.
No, that's
Disney Plus. I did check everything, from Hawkeye, which I didn't love. I checked, everything Marvel. Moon Knight. Sorry, I saw it. I was able to see it back in Moscow, and I'm torn about that show. I don't know what you thought about it.
I really wish that we could have seen more of Moon Knight. Just me being a selfish superhero fan.
I mean, did it get like 10 minutes of screen time? The whole, with the costume in the whole show, or something like that. I wish that too.
I did like the exploring, I guess, of the personality disorder and things, but I definitely hated that in the first episode. It was just the last 5 seconds, and then we got something really good, and then that was it.
Yeah. I'm not a big fan of Disney stuff that are coming out. Like they are pushing everything to be like PG-13, and I think it's kind of messing with some stories. Like Moon Knight definitely should have been like some PG-16, like R-rated show for sure. And I'm kind of worried to what will they do with Daredevil.
Yes. Did that I hope they do him justice, but I did like the cameo in the Spider-Man movie.
Oh yeah. I shouted with everyone at the movie theater,
Yeah, he cut that brick. I was just like, holy shit. This is awesome.
Yeah. I'm pretty excited about that too. That the fact that they brought it to the MCU, I'm excited about that. I just wish that they keep giving the directors or the writers or whatever, the creative liberty that made the character great. You know?
Yes. Yes, and maybe start showing a little bit more love to the comic creators instead of just putting them in the end credits in a small name.
Yeah, I think that would be awesome too.
Well, Franco, brother, thank you so much for hanging out with me and letting me
No,
get
thank
to know
you for
you
inviting me.
and answering my questions. I really, really appreciate your time. Thank you so much. And man, until next time, we'll have to do this again down the road for sure.
Yeah, I hope it's soon. Hopefully, I would be able to tell a little bit more about the story I'm working on.
That will be awesome to hear about the new story. But guys, as always, check out Kickstarter.com. There's only a few days left. Look for Lesser Known Comics Batch 4, and you can get in on your own issue of Death Wish, Goodnight, So I Worked at the Mall, and tons of other, Tank McGregor especially, and tons of other awesome, awesome titles within the Lesser Known Comics world. Franco, brother, thank you so much, and congratulations on the funding, man.
Thank you, Josh.
Enjoy your evening, man. And I can't wait to do this again.